welcome to FutureFest. We're really excited to be beaming into classrooms all around Australia, and we have some epic speakers to chat to you today. To kick off, I just want to take a little bit of time to show you a map that might be familiar to you. This is, of course, our map of Australia. I'd love for you to have a think about how old you were when you first saw this map. For me, I reckon I was in primary school, like early primary school when that happened. I want to show you this map though. How old were you when you first saw this map? For those that might be unfamiliar, this is a map of all of our Indigenous cultures across Australia. And it's one that I saw much later than the first map, which is really interesting because this map is hundreds of thousands of years old. So to kick off today, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, our elders past, present and emerging. And also say that when we're talking about innovation moving forward, it's really important that we actually look into the past and catalyse the knowledge and expertise and history and wisdom that extends before us in order to move into our future. I guess just to step you through some of the structure of today, we've got sort of 6 sessions that we're going to be running through, and we're using a methodology called the Pomodoro technique, which is something that you could really apply to the way that you study and work from home as well. Now, the Pomodoro technique works across sort of 5 steps, and basically what it looks like is we run 25-minute sessions where you're going to hear from a speaker or probably have to listen to me for some of that, and then we're going to take a 5-minute break. In that 5-minute break, we get away from our device, you might stand up and stretch, take some big deep breaths and just sort of switch off from the tech and refresh, ready for the next section. We then dive back into another 25-minute session before we take another 5-minute break. We do 4 25-minute sessions and then we're actually going to take a 20-minute break. And that's an opportunity for you to go and grab some food, grab a drink of water, do what you need to do in order to reset for a couple of our sessions to finish off. Now, this is an amazing technique for you when you're studying or working from home. The idea being that you pick one task that you do for that 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and then dive back into your next task. Now, you can also tap into the Future Anything team through our community, and there's a few ways that you can do that. Firstly, you can check out our website, and that's got like a plethora of information about our programs and things that are going on. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. So if you've got your phone near you and you're allowed to access it, we definitely recommend jumping on there because our Facebook page and our Instagram page are places where we share lots of really cool information about entrepreneurship and young people that are killing it in different industries. So we recommend that you jump on, give us a follow, give us a like, tell us what you want to see on our socials so that we can actually get some really great stories of young changemakers straight to your feeds. Now, Rule of 3. This is basically the way that I operate my life on any given day. And it's particularly pertinent when we're talking about tech and running something like a virtual live stream. Now, this basically means that at any given time, we know there are going to be 3 things that go wrong. So at some point across the course of today, there might be a tech glitch, there might be a mic glitch, there might be some sort of rap battle that happens that was completely unexpected, and we're just going to roll with that. So keep note. Keep a good sense of humour and we'll roll through today together. Now, who are we? Who am I? What are we doing here? My name's Nick Dyson. I'm the founder of Future Anything, but back in the day, a number of years ago, I was a classroom teacher. And I don't know about you guys, but often I felt like the classroom looked a little bit like this. Now, I would love for you to tap in and check out the guy that's in the bottom right-hand corner because he looks like he's having a really good day. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes in the classroom I felt like it was a little bit black and white, a little bit disengaged, a little bit hard to connect the stuff that I was teaching to the young people that were in front of me. And a number of years ago I had one particular moment in my classroom where I held a couple of boys back at the end of my English lesson to have a chat to them. They'd taken this like 15-minute jaunt to the bathroom. You know, the one where you go via the water bubbler that's on the other side of the school and then gallivant your way back to class after a really extended break. Well, they were repaying back that time to me in their lunch break. And they were working away on what they were doing. And one of the boys stopped and he looked up from the work that he was doing and he said to me, "I don't mean to be rude, miss, but." Now, I don't know about you guys, but when somebody says to me, "I don't mean to be rude," especially, in a classroom situation, you know that whatever is going to come out of that mouth is definitely going to be something rude. So I stopped and I looked at him and I kind of held my breath a little bit and worried about what was going to follow that sentence. And he said, "I don't mean to be rude, miss, but why are we doing this?" And at that particular moment in time, we were doing a novel study. It was an all-boys Year 9 English class. The text had like a female protagonist. They were super tapped out of the book. It wasn't something interesting to them. And they were going to have to write like an analytical essay about the book or the themes that were in the book. And I stopped for a moment before I answered, because I think the typical teacher answer is to say, because it's really important, you know, you're going to need this learning for life. But in that moment, when I looked at that young person, I realized, you know what? I'm not sure why we're doing this. And I struggled to connect the learning to what those particular young people might be doing outside of that classroom later. So I looked at this young person and I said, because we have to. Why do we have to do this? I don't know. And it kind of was a bit of a provocation moment for me, where I started to question the sort of learning that we were doing in the classroom and how I could make it better so that no young person ever had to ask the question about why we were doing this. And so that took me on a little bit of a journey playing with project-based learning and particularly entrepreneurship. And here at Future Anything, we run a suite of youth entrepreneurship programs in schools all around the country and internationally. But our cornerstone program is Activate. And Activate is a curriculum-embedded program run across a term or 2 terms where young people go from looking problems that matter to them to pitching epic solutions that they love. And we're just going to tap into a really short video that sort of steps through that program and what it's all about. Future Anything Activate is a curriculum-embedded program for Year 9 and 10 students in high schools around Australia. Over the course of 10 weeks, our young people go from looking at problems that matter to them to solving these problems with enterprise solutions that make a difference in the world. Future Anything Activate starts with professional development for the educators that are running the program.
I personally find having the materials that we've been provided for the curriculum relatable, they're authentic, and I just think that every student in this program is being given an amazing opportunity. And as a teacher, I find that being able to be involved in this is worthwhile for me, and I feel like what I'm doing is actually helping shape the future.
Future Anything Activate is then embedded in classrooms within our schools. This means that during their normal English class, their normal business class, or their science classroom, our students are embarking on this 10-week journey as an accessible unit of work. A key component of Activate is FutureFest. FutureFest is an opportunity for our young people to hear from some incredible, inspiring changemakers so that they can see the real-world application of the stuff they're learning in the classroom.
I don't care what it is that I do, as long as what it is that I'm doing makes a difference.
Look, programs like this are essential to converting the thinking of young people and enabling them to know that they can actually go and solve problems themselves. And the fact that schools get behind this is absolutely the way of the future for education.
I've learned a lot about opening myself up with others, because I don't have much confidence, and I've learned so many new things, so many great ideas are running in my mind right now that I don't know how to even put them in place.
At the end of the 10-week program, each of our schools hold their very own Shark Tank, where their student teams showcase the amazing, sustainable, innovative and scalable solutions that they've designed. The winners from these school-based Shark Tanks then have the opportunity to pitch at our state finals and our national finals, where they can win tens of thousands of dollars to launch their businesses out of the classroom and into the real world.
One of the biggest issues, especially middle school students have, is seeing the relevance of what they do, and if that can be linked to what their experience is, I think that's the biggest thing.
Seeing students in such a broad way just take ownership of their own learning and find things that they're passionate about and draw that out into their own education has been fantastic, and what I think we as educators should be really pushing for.
But regardless of the program that we tap into, all of our young people tap into a similar mission. And that is, as an entrepreneur, pitch an innovative idea that makes the world a better place. And so regardless of which program that we run, we use our Entrepreneur's Odyssey. And our Entrepreneurs Odyssey is a series of steps that take young people from looking at problems they care about to pitching innovative solutions that make the world a better place. And what we do is we start with our 2 cornerstone steps, which are, where have I been and what matters to me? We believe that the best entrepreneurs are able to catalyze their lived experiences as well as their skills and passions in order to create really great solutions moving forward. So the key in identifying a problem that you want to solve is to really dig deep and think about, well, what do I care about? And maybe what's a problem that I've experienced that I could actually look at tackling? The closer you are to the problem and the more that you care about it, the more innovative, effective, and interesting your solution is going to be, because you've got that lived experience of what it looks like in order to draw from. From identifying a problem that we want to tap into through our lived experiences and our passions, we actually move through the next step, which is like looking at the problem in more detail to work out, well, what's going on? What are the causes and consequences of that problem? What's the scope and size of the problem? From there, our next step is actually looking at, well, who else cares about this same problem? Because if there's a series of people out there who are already trying to tackle the same problem as you, it's better going together to create a great solution. From here, we move through some of our key design thinking steps, and this is through ideation, which basically is a fancy word for coming up with lots of different solutions. And then we move into looking at our value proposition, so how we make our idea different, testing our idea, coming up with an MVP, before our second last step is looking at how do we get noticed. And this is the marketing and branding and pitching of our idea. You'll notice the last step in our Entrepreneurs Odyssey is about bending the future, because here at Future Anything, we believe that youth-led ideas have the power to bend the future. In other words, every idea that you guys put out into the world makes the future a little bit different as a result. And this is why we're so passionate about the work that we do at Future Anything. We work with hundreds and thousands of young people nationally and internationally to take the problems that they care about and help them design solutions to those problems that actually bend the future. Now, as we move through today, we have a few rules. Well, actually, we like to call them culture conditions. These are ways of operating around each other. Our first culture condition is that we listen first. Here at Future Anything, we believe that the best way that we can show respect and engagement to the people around us is to stop speaking and really deeply listen to the person in front of us. So our first culture condition is that we listen first. Our next culture condition is that we're humble and kind. Okay, regardless of how we operate in our programs and around each other, we want to stay humble and we want to make sure that our intent is always kindness. Our third culture condition is that we don't get good things without doing hard things. At different points through our Entrepreneurs Odyssey, you're going to find yourself uncomfortable. Often we come up with this really cool idea and then we try to validate it, or we get feedback from people and they kind of tell us that our idea sucks. And that makes us sit in this really uncomfortable pit in our learning process. And it's important to recognize that those moments of uncomfortableness or those moments of feeling down about where we're at are a really natural part of the entrepreneurship journey. And moving through that process means that we're actually going to get to a solution that's better, more interesting, more innovative, and more effective. This one's interesting, and it's not my favorite. I come from a competitive swimming background, so I love competition. But the reality is we don't always win. At some points in time, we're going to find other young people that we're working with or other solutions that exist in the world that are better than ours. And that's okay, because what we want to do, and this is our final culture condition, is we want to high-five greatness. When we see other cool people doing cool work, we want to step back and high-five that person or give them an elbow tap in COVID times and say how great the work that they are doing is, and acknowledge and take time to reward that work. So those are our culture conditions for today. So beaming in from wherever you are, I want you to take a second and really absorb those and think about setting up those norms for today, because we have such an epic lineup of speakers to walk you through. And I'm not going to go over them in a huge amount of detail, but to kick off our session today, after we take our first break, we're going to have Natalie Cook, who's 5-time Olympian and won a gold medal at the Sydney Olympics, emceeing a panel with 2 incredible Brisbane-based entrepreneurs about innovation in sports and health. I know this is going to be a super interesting conversation. We then have Ed from Trademark coming in to have a conversation about value proposition. Ed's the founder of this rad company that makes workwear, but not as you know it. And we're going to talk about how you take a product that you see on the shelf all of the time and make it unique and interesting, so much so that people are going to choose your product over somebody else's. Our next session after that, we're going to tap into a circular economy conversation. And we have Queensland's Chief Entrepreneur, Leanne Kemp, coming in to chat to 2 other entrepreneurs about how you can actually create a new product or service using the circular economy. And I know for a lot of our young people where environment and sustainability is really important, this is going to be a conversation that you really want to tap into. We also are chatting to Will later on today, and he's going to have a chat about measuring impact. You'll notice in our mission, what we try to come up with is an innovative idea that actually makes the world a better place. But how do you know whether your idea is making the world a better place? Will's going to talk to us about some of his entrepreneurship endeavors, but also how you take businesses and create really tangible ways to measure that impact moving on. I know you guys can see we have a killer lineup of speakers to chat to you today. So we're going to move into our first 5-minute break. And in that time, I want you to turn to the person next to you, or maybe have a chat to your teacher of all of the cool humans that are in this lineup for today. Who are you most excited about hearing from? And do you have a question that you would really love for them to tap into during today's discussion? So we're going to see you back here in about 5 to 7 minutes. Have a chat. Who are you excited to hear from? What do you want to hear them talk about? And we'll see you really soon.